A good morning. A good morning to wherever you are. Hope everyone's doing well. Yay, it's Higurashi, yay. Been a couple days. Yesterday I took notes. I had been meaning to, and then I forgot, and then last night I was like, oh, yeah, I played Higurashi. Um, so I quickly have a look at it. I was thinking maybe I should do like a segment. I should do like a segment at the start of my streams where I'm like, this is the last time on Wise Plays Higurashi When They Cry. So we were like halfway through chapter 5 when we started, I think. Keiichi went to Satoko's house after school, and Coach was there. He'd driven Satoko home. She'd been out shopping, getting alcohol and snacks for her uncle and his friends. Apologies if I accidentally call her uncle her dad. I noticed like I accidentally did that when I was writing my notes, and I'm like, oh wait, that's not. Teppei's got friends over playing mahjong. Satoko's got like some bruises on her. And we talked to Coach, and Keiichi and Coach are kind of like come to the conclusion. I mean, I don't know. It's like, yeah, Satoko is enduring this abuse because she sees it as, like as a trial. For like, you know, if she can endure this abuse and prove that she can do chores and stuff, and you know, be responsible and not a burden, then her brother's gonna come home. We got tips on a case, December 1, 1981. This was like welfare people were contacted. And at the end of that tip, it was like, ask Chief Investigator F from the city's education consultation officers. Wait, no, am I getting confused? Oh, yes, 1997 document. Not 97, 1977, sorry. Brain is still warming up. So that's interesting. I guess the case. Okay, doesn't matter. And then it was chapter 6, and Keiichi was thinking about how he wants to save Satoko, and maybe he could like hide her, like in his room and stuff. Thankfully, a lot of that chapter, a good chunk of it was Keiichi thinking about how to hide Satoko. So I didn't have to take a bunch of notes on that. Keiichi slept in. His parents weren't there, so he started making his way to school. He went in like the opposite direction to the dam site. He ran into Tomitake, and then he took Tomitake to the Furude shrine. And Takono's there, and you know, Takono's doing her usual shit. And I think Takono told Keiichi who she suspects is like behind the curse. And she said that like the curse is like Santa. Like people are using the curse like how everyone's parents are Santa. Spoilers. Anyways, okay, you get it. At school, Satoko's not there, and Keiichi and Mion are called to talk to the teacher, and the kids, like the group, they decide that they're going to tell the teacher about the abuse. Yeah. So, and there were tips, and the tips are just going over like child abuse. So yeah, it was a very heavy episode. So I assume it's gonna continue on with the heaviness. So I mean, content warning, I suppose. Child abuse. But yeah, it's I'm really enjoying this. It's very good. Hee hee hee. Hoo hoo hoo. So yeah, we're gonna stream for a couple hours today. In Australia we're having a federal, that's right, election. I voted yesterday. Yahoo. It was me and my brother, it was our first time voting in a federal election. And it was interesting because like in the lineup, there's like, you know, people from like different political parties. And there was one guy who, like, you know, was talking to us, and he's like, oh, you know, like I heard last week that the Greens, they want to get men and women's sports, and my brother and I both queer. I've got dyed hair, and we're just like, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. And it's like, it was quite funny. I found out last week, you know. Like, you found out last week? Damn. Wish I could be you. But yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, voting in Australia is compulsory, which is pretty swag. Pretty awesome. Anyways. The Die of Fate had been cast. Ava Mishika reference. Oh yeah, I'm putting together a Ava Mishika Mutsubi / Mortis cosplay. I bought the clothes online and the wig online, but it didn't come with shoes. But I managed to find the perfect shoes. I was so happy. They have a bit of a heel on them. I'm not used to it. I feel a bit like a horse, like clop clop clop. But it's really cool, and I got socks for it, and I'm so excited. I gotta get around to styling the wig. But yeah, it's my first like proper cosplay. And it's okay. Anyways. Reporting to a public agency, which we kept being warned could instead result in something far worse for Satoko if we didn't have the evidence first. And just like that, had I failed? Had I let my emotions get the better of me in that moment? Maybe I should have stayed silent and left everything to Mion, since she had been relatively calm. I remembered the punishment game where we had to badmouth Kari, and how me saying anything would have made it worse. And Satoko told us to leave the talking to her. Hey Shadex, what's up? Good to see ya! Hope you're doing well. Dude, even the fucking Kari punishment game is relevant. Damn you, Higurashi, when they cry. Maybe it was the same thing here. I was impulsive, so maybe I should have just shut up and looked at the floor. But it was too late to lament it. The die I had thrown wouldn't be coming back into my hands. All we could do was pray for something good to happen.
Keiichi-kun, you did everything you could, so leave it to the teachers now.
Oh yeah, also, we are, for a couple of days, we're dog sitting, we're puppy sitting. So we've got a puppy. That's part of why I have been absent. And she's so cute. The puppy's adorable. And she hasn't been around cats before. And we have 3 cats. And so like this morning I came out, and one of our cats, Archie, he's very friendly. He thinks he's a dog, I think. He really likes other dogs. The puppy, she's like not really sure what to do, and so like she went up to him and then like kind of chickened out and she ran, and I was sitting on the couch, she ran and she leapt up into my arms and I could feel her little heart pounding. It was so adorable. But then Archie came over and he's like trying to nuzzle her and stuff, and she's like, what do I do? What do I do? It's so sweet. And we've got an old dog, Ari, and he's like kind of a bit exhausted by it, but you know, he's a good boy. He kind of lets her like run around in circles around him. It's so cute. Anyways.
You did everything you could, so leave it to the teachers now, okay?
Everything I could? If I really gave it everything I had, if I had really struggled, I would have dragged Satoko out of her home last night and hidden her in some abandoned house. I didn't, so that means I didn't do everything I could. Yeah, well, I don't know, I feel like that could have made it worse. Keiichi, okay. These are just Keiichi's, he's just trying to... He feels bad. He's trying to... He's a kid trying to make sense of all this.
Stop thinking about it, alright? You're being a little too persistent, Keiichi-kun. At this rate, you'll collapse.
Just leave me alone. I left her with those words and stared lazily up at the ceiling. I wondered if I'd really got Chie-sensei to understand. Would the public agency intervene and solve everything within the day? Would they acknowledge the abuse and guarantee her safety? Sorry, I'm just adjusting my mic. Aww. After lunch break, our afternoon classes were mostly self-study. The teacher came back to the classroom occasionally, but then the police in the police? Freudian slip. The phone in the lounge would ring and she'd have a long conversation with the caller. Everyone in class got the feeling they knew what those phone calls were about. It is super upsetting, yeah. It's really good. I mean, the situation is awful, but it's really, I'm really enjoying how it's written. Yeah. I watched a video yesterday. It was about Umineko. The video was called something like the best like autistic character you never knew. And it was, yeah, about a character from Umineko. And it was a really good video. You can watch some stuff which is relatively spoiler free and then they get into more spoiler stuff, but it's a really well done video. And yeah, this one character from Umineko I feel kind of similarly about with Satoko's situation. Although for this other character, because she is so autistic coded, it's like on another level for me. But yeah, I do trust Ryukishi to portray these situations well. For better or for worse, you know? But yeah, it can be super chilling. Sensei came trotting back from the classroom. I'm really sorry for all the phone calls recently. Let's call it a day. President, please lead the class. Everybody stand up! Everybody put your hands up! It looked to me like Sensei had been wearing a dark expression ever since after lunch break. It wasn't a very relieving expression. It wouldn't be. Even if Sensei 100% understood the situation and passionately explained it to the other person. At the end, the Child Consultation Center, as a public agency, would be the ones to decide whether to get her to safety. Sensei understood that as well as us, and that's why she looked so unreliable right now. Kei-chan, let's go home. I don't think anyone feels like having the club today.
Mi-chan, it's no fun if someone's not here.
Rena was right. It was no fun for us if someone was missing. The teacher's expression had shown more promise than— if the teacher's expression had shown more promise, then maybe we could have gone home more comfortably, but I couldn't let myself feel relieved. I couldn't be naive and tell myself all I can do is pray now that the dice have been cast. Just in case they didn't get her to safety and decided to wait and see again, I needed to take further measures. I mean, I feel like Satoko she's bruised, and I was saying this in the last stream, like, she went out and got alcohol somehow. Like, I feel like that's kind of alarming. We've asked the people who could do something official already. Then there was one more place that was worth asking for help. She might laugh it off, or I might be right and I could be endangering my own life. But I'd try. Oh, Mion, is it okay if I stop by your place today? You've got a lot of manga, right? I want to borrow a bunch of them. Huh? Sure, I guess. There was an ominous meaning behind my words, so Mion realized what I really meant right away. I wanted to talk about something alone. That's what I meant. Like about kidnapping Satoko and keeping her at Mion's place.
Mi-chan, Keiichi-kun, let's go home.
Rena already had her shoes on and was waving to us from the schoolyard. Mion's house was gigantic in every way imaginable. The house itself was a vaguely old-fashioned, traditional Japanese house, but the yard, I guess, or their plot of land, was enormous. It easily convinced me that they really were major landowners, with Hinamizawa under their thumb. Wow, it's weird being back here again. Oh man. Mion brought me through the guest room and the servant brought us some tea. A servant? She's got servants here? Whoa. You really are rich, huh? You even got housekeepers? Yeah, exactly. Grandma and I are the only ones who live here. I wouldn't be able to do everything myself. I mean, I guess if you got such a big house. I'd like to bring you tea? Whoa. The servant left, telling us it was 5 o'clock, then withdrew with soft footsteps. We have people coming in to take care of Grandma and clean 2 or 3 times a week. Oh, okay, that's cool. They come in rotations of 3 or 4, so there's someone here almost every day. So I guess our grandma's not in great health. Only until evening, though. Oh, and if we're having a party or something where we need more help, we call up different people. If you had the money to hire all these people, then just take Satoko in. You know, good point, actually. Although, I mean, I guess nothing is really that simple, but, you know. I glared at her as I thought that, and Mion seemed to catch on immediately. Oh, sorry. It's fine. I know it's not a money problem. Just to be clear, my family may be rich, but it's not money that I can use freely for myself, okay? I don't want you to misunderstand that. It looked kind of like I was bullying her. Mion had been apologizing to me a lot lately. Was Mion the sort of person who would do that this much? Maybe it's just that I've been looking so grim lately. So, what's up? You had something to talk about, right? I have something pretty serious to discuss, Mion. This will be sudden and you might be surprised, but I want you to hear me out. Huh? What? Oh, I'll give you a way out first. Even if what I say is true, you don't need to admit it. You're allowed to play dumb, but I want you to listen until the end. I have something to say to the next leader of what's still the most important of the 3 families of Onigafuchi village, Mion Sonozaki. I wonder if this has something to do with what Takano told him. At first Mion looked like she had no idea what I was saying, but at hearing the whole sentence and putting it together, she reacted. Where did you hear that? It doesn't really matter. One of the rules was, well, I mean, there were 3 rules. It was something like, you can't tell anyone what I've told you, you can't tell anyone who told you, something like that, and there was another one along those lines. One of the rules is you don't talk about Fight Club. Exactly, yeah. I definitely couldn't tell her who told me. Takano-san, you told me not to, but please forgive me. Breaking one of the rules, Keiichi. This is why I asked you about it after all. I was surprised just that you'd heard of Onigafuchi village, Kei-chan. But you seem to know a lot of things, both true and false, about me too. Yeah, true and false. I really might just have the wrong impression here. But I'm okay with that, so listen. And if it really is true... I don't know what you're getting at, Kei-chan, but let me say this beforehand. You've got a big misunderstanding, so if it were possible, I wouldn't want to hear what you're about to say. Because even if you said it, I can't do anything to help you, still. If talking about it will lighten your burden even a little, I'll listen. I'm only just going to listen. Nothing more will happen. Are you okay with that? Yeah. Mion seemed to know what kind of thing I'd be talking about. She warned me that doing so would be fruitless. That much was obvious. If what I was going to say was true, then the Sonozaki family would be the masterminds behind the string of freak deaths that had been occurring every year in Hinamizawa. You know that stuff about Oyashiro-sama's curse, right? Mion nodded a little. No one knows what it is or why it happens. Even if each incident is solved, the string of deaths and accidents as a whole is still a mystery. But there's one thing connecting them all, and that's how the targets are always enemies of this village. Seems like it. Mion spoke as if it didn't relate to her. That was fine. She didn't have to admit it. For now, I just wanted her to stay quiet and listen to me. The day after tomorrow, it's Watanagashi, isn't it? Has the sacrifice for this year's curse been decided already? Mion didn't answer. Her expression remained the same too. Is it really... Does she really decide? I feel like it's so early in the story for that to be, like, the solution though. And so it just feels weird. But I also feel like I should stop... No, never stop thinking Waisagu. I don't know, okay. Like she said, she was just quietly listening. Sorry. The promise was that you'd just listen, so it's weird for me to ask a question, huh? Mion gave me a look she'd never given me before. A faraway look, a sympathetic one. She didn't nod. She just smiled faintly and listened to me. If this year's curse isn't going to be Satoko's uncle, then please change it to him. I mean, last year it was her aunt, right? It's in the right order, so it wouldn't be weird. You're right, it seems like there's an order. I mean, after her aunt died to the curse last year, he abandoned Satoko and fled into the town for a whole year. An order? Why wouldn't a guy like that definitely be next on Oyashiro-sama's list? There shouldn't be any issue with choosing him for this year. I see. If he were to die from the curse this year, no one would see anything unusual about it. I heard that Oyashiro-sama's curse is, well, everyone's parents. No matter how I looked at it, I wasn't sure whether I should continue. No matter how I tried, the words wouldn't come out. The string of freak deaths in Hinamizawa, also called Oyashiro-sama's curse. You're saying they're incidents perpetrated by the village, carried out by the three families at the Sonozaki's instructions? Is that it? I don't care one bit whether you have anything to do with it. I'm just saying, if you have any way of communicating with whoever decides the targets of the curse, then I just want you to tell them to choose Satoko's uncle. Please. Everything you've been saying has been terrible. If the freak death incidents in Hinamizawa were carried out by the will of the Sonozaki family, that would mean the main culprit would be me, wouldn't it? I would have chosen the target of the curse, given the instructions, killed many people, and gotten rid of others. You're calling me a murderer, Kate-chan? I didn't say that. Didn't you listen to me? I don't care whether you're the one behind the murders or not. I just don't. Even if you were the culprit, it doesn't change the fact that you're my friend. It doesn't matter at all. If the police were chasing you, I'd come to help. I'd make you an alibi and even help you escape, because we're friends and comrades, aren't we? Mion looked surprised for a while. She was dumbfounded. Now you're declaring yourself complicit? Hey-chan, that's pretty bold of you. Come on, don't interrupt. Satoko's uncle. Choose him for... Stop right there, Kei-chan. I want to start on dinner soon, so I'd like to leave things at this. Mion! Then I realized that my cheeks were wet with tears. They slid down my chin and fell, drip-drop, to the tatami mat. It's like I said at the start, you've got a big misunderstanding. Oyashiro-sama's curse is just that. Even if there were people behind those incidents, they don't have anything to do with the Sonozaki family, or me either. Oh shit. There's a Mystic Messenger chat room I gotta open, and then I'll just leave it open and I will do it later. I'm playing the Mystic Messenger Christmas DLC. Merry Christmas, everyone. Okay, they don't have anything to do with the Sonozaki family? Is she just saying that to deny it, or does she actually mean that? Right. I understand that, it's just... It was touching to hear such a desperate plea, Kate-chan, but that was all it was. Even if I wanted to help, I can't. That is the question. You understand that too, right? Yeah. But now I know how you feel so well it hurts. If I really were, like you said, the one controlling the three families and choosing the sacrifices every year, I'd probably grant your wish. Mion. But the reality is different. I'm just Mion Sonozaki. My family may be the subject of all sorts of bad rumors about controlling Hinamizawa from the shadows, but we have nothing to do with the freak death incidents. Oh my god, this is really interesting. Oh, rubbing my hands together. We may have been a little extreme during the damn war, but that's all. We would never do something so insane as to kill people. Don't say such sad things. Right now, at least. I don't care. Why can't you just be nice and lie to me? Kei-chan, you're free to believe what you like. If I lied to you now, you'd be convinced Satoko would be freed the night after tomorrow, and you'd be able to shed much of your burden. However, reality is harsh. Satoko's uncle will survive beyond that day. He'd still be alive next week and the week after that. You need to prepare yourself for that. I don't want you coming to me the day after Watanagashi and demanding to know why he wasn't killed. Mion. Mion stood up slowly and closed the sliding door to keep out the wind that had grown chilly. Was it Mio-san? Did she give you all those ideas? She really likes to misunderstand things about Hinamizawa. Well, we can let her have her fun. But I don't really want her influencing you, Kate-chan. Jeez, this is why outsiders are no good. Takano-san has nothing to do with it. I wonder how much of what Takano has been researching is reliable. I mean, even if they are reliable, like, you know, actual legends that have been passed down, they are kind of just like legends, you know? I don't think they were actually demons and stuff, you know? Right. Don't worry. Even though I know she told you about it, Kate-chan, nothing's gonna happen. It's not like Mio-san will be chosen for this year's curse. Yeah, It would be really interesting if she wasn't. But I think she will be. What was it? She said, like, if it happens, like, twice, it's probably gonna happen a third time. Besides, we don't even know for sure if the curse will happen this year. Maybe it was all just a pile of unfortunate coincidences. Thanks for listening. If you aren't connected to the serial deaths at all, then that must have been an uncomfortable conversation. I'll apologize for it. I see. You'll apologize for it. Neon said she didn't have much time, but she still brought me to the gate. She said she had a meeting or something today about Sunday's Watanagashi festival, so there would be a lot of people from the town council and the festival committee coming. Despite her day being so busy, she still listened to what I had to say. If there's a god in heaven, then he probably understands how strongly you feel. Yeah, I'm really sorry for being so weird today. You can pretend like this discussion never happened if you want. Okay, I'll forget about it. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. I had really only spent a short time with Mion. Talking to her made me think. It was clear that what Takano-san had told me at least wasn't a complete fabrication. If Mion was really unconnected to the incidents, then she probably wouldn't have listened to me so quietly. She heard me out until I was done, without making any quips, and I wanted to think that was proof. I did kind of feel like I was grasping at straws. Of course, thinking back on it, it was a terrible thing to discuss. I mean, I went to my friend's house, called her a serial murderer, and then told her to kill Satoko's uncle. I was the only one talking that whole time. Mion quietly listened to everything I had to say like a pastor listening to a confession. She could have gotten angry partway through, told me off, and to go wash my face in miso soup and come back later. But she didn't. Was that proof that Mion's family, the Sonozakis, were the masterminds? Or was she just listening because she felt sorry for me going kind of crazy? I didn't know which it was, but it was the one effort I could make at the moment. It was another form of insurance. Should worst come to worst, and the public agency decided to wait and see. It was a completely useless resistance, literally grasping at straws. Sensei said that if she reported it to the Child Consultation Center, they'd have to respond on the same day. Could they already be in the middle of responding to it now? If Satoko came to school tomorrow morning all energetic, then everything would be just a needless fear. Why couldn't tomorrow come faster? Man, these poor kids. That night was unusually hot and humid, and I couldn't get to sleep. I said all that to Sensei. They couldn't possibly decide to wait and see again this year. Satoko, what was it like for her tonight? Had she tasted the end of her nightmare, enjoying a night of liberation? I actually put my hands together and prayed into my futon. I wonder if his parents are back. Or if they're still out. There's no mention of them.
Good morning, Keiichi-kun.
Morning.
Thank goodness. I thought you overslept today too. Your mom said you'd gone on ahead yesterday and then you weren't at school.
Oh, okay, so his parents were there when Rena came. I guess Rena came because Keiichi was late. Usually they meet up, I think. And I guess his mom must have misunderstood.
I was worried that you'd gotten heat stroke halfway there.
Yeah, I'm very sorry for all the worry I caused you yesterday. Hey, good morning.
Mi-chan, good morning. Are you alright? You look really tired.
Oh right, wasn't there a big business meeting with all the people on the town council yesterday? They only called it that. It was more like a party. We have the festival every year, right? We wouldn't have any annoying meetings at this point.
Are you gonna help out with the festival this afternoon then?
Yep. I have to do a meet and greet with all sorts of people in Grandma's place. Besides, they already started setting up for the festival. I guess her grandma's really not in good health right now. Our morning conversation was lighthearted as usual. It looked like Mion had thankfully forgotten about how I'd barged into her house yesterday with that crazy talk. The more I think back on it, I felt like I'd really said something terrible to her. I was really thoughtless, and it wouldn't have been weird if she'd yelled at me. It was highly possible Takono-san had exaggerated her story, to think that our comrade and friend, Mion, the young leader of the Sonozakis, one of the three families effectively controlling Hinamizawa, was pulling the strings behind the serial death incidents, was a little unbelievable. But if there was even a 1% chance that it was true, then what I said yesterday to Mion might have been a success. Yes, it was no more than 1 in 100. But that little bit of effort might have brought the chances of saving Satoko up by even a tiny bit. At least I'd made that effort. After yesterday ended, I was sure I'd done everything I possibly could. If there was something else I could do, it was probably just to clap my hands and pray that Satoko's uncle would be killed by the curse. I hope Satoko makes it today.
Me too. Sensei is doing things for her, right? I'm sure it'll be fine.
I wonder if she's gonna make it to the Watanagashi. My aunt is a welfare agent in the Hinamizawa district. Interesting. I gave her a call last night.
Huh? I didn't know your aunt was a welfare officer. What happened? Did you tell her about Satoko-chan?
Yep. Jia-sensei called the Child Consultation Center right after we talked to her. A child welfare officer apparently visited before the night was over. My aunt said that they were going to pay visits at regular intervals from now on. Enough with the dumb little stuff. I want to know what happened to Satoko. Did they get her safe? My aunt wasn't that informed about it. I was supposed to keep this a secret anyway. Her telling me was a big breach of ethics in the first place. Damn, that makes me feel even worse.
Let's get to school.
Right. Discussing this more would just make us feel worse. It was far quicker to go to school and see if Satoko was safe or not. The three of us nodded and ran off. Was Satoko safe? What measures had the Child Consultation Center taken? I didn't care what, as long as we could go back to our peaceful life with Satoko today, it didn't matter to me. Oh god. I just got a really bad feeling. At the shoe racks at the entrance, Rena took a peek in Satoko's shoe cubby.
Ah, Satoko's shoes are here! They're here! Kei-chan, Satoko came! Thank goodness!
We don't know if anything happened just because she came to school. We can't know anything until we see her face. We trotted towards the classroom. The classroom was lively, as it usually was in the morning. Satoko, where are you?
Meep. She's right here. It's too early in the morning to be so loud. Would you please keep it down a bit? Satoko-chan, are you okay?
All of our friends crowded around Satoko excitedly. The probation officer came, right? How did it go? Who was it that called them? I swear, it was quite a mess, you know. It was the teacher. We were absent for so long, of course she was worried. Satoko said, "I told you I'm fine," under her breath. She was still trying to overcome all the suffering on her own. It was a big bother to both me and my uncle. That person just barged in on us suddenly, jeez. Everyone was worried about you, Satoko. Don't say it was a bother. Ah, jeez. Anyway, what happened? Nothing happened. Ho ho ho. My cold got better, so I came back to school, that's all. I can't take too much time off from now on because then you'll all worry about me. Ho ho ho. What was Satoko saying? What happened to, well, your uncle? Oh, he admitted there were some misunderstandings, and we both apologized. Tug. Rika-chan grabbed the back of my collar and pulled me away. What is it, Rika-chan? Rika-chan silently dragged me all the way into the hallway. Rika-chan, what did that mean?
Satoko said nothing was happening and chased them away.
That idiot. But why? No, somewhere in my mind I thought it might turn out like this. Satoko didn't ask for anyone's help. She didn't hide behind anyone. She was trying to ride out this pain. She wanted to show Satoshi proof that if he came back to them, she wouldn't need to hide behind him anymore. But Coach said probation officers can bring her to safety in an emergency, even if it's against her wishes. However much Satoko denies the abuse, it's a fact. Chie-sensei finally came. Her expression was far from cheerful. Yes, you're right, Mayabara-kun. If the child welfare officer determines that it's an emergency, they have the right to immediately take them to safety, regardless of the affected party's intent. Then why? Why is Satoko's intent being respected so much? It's weird. Why don't they put her into safety? Well, after looking into it from many angles, that's what the Okinomiya Child Consultation Center determined. What the hell is that? Sensei, didn't you say it was going to be alright since you definitely saved her? What's the meaning of this? This doesn't make any sense. Answer me, damn it.
Keiichi, this is actually the third time someone has reported Satoko's child abuse. It happened twice in the past too. Is that the 1977 time?
Uride-san. Sensei tried to stop her, but Rika-chan went on speaking anyway. Twice before? I heard they decided to wait and see after reporting it the winter before last, but it happened before then too?
Satoko's father, who died, wasn't her real father.
What? Rika-chan, that's... what? I'm stunned at the sudden revelation. I had no idea what Rika-chan wanted to tell me, but it seemed really important, so I couldn't get a word in either.
Satoko's mother remarried. She brought Satoko and Satoshi with her, so they weren't related by blood to their father.
Satoshi was a good kid, one who listened politely to what adults told him. He was immediately welcomed by their new father and was loved. But Satoko was different. She was rebellious, she told lies, she played pranks. Her stepfather didn't like her at all. So, what do you mean?
Even before she was given to their uncle and his wife, Satoko didn't have a very good relationship with her family.
Of course, her stepfather didn't have any malicious intent at the start. At first, he must have worked hard to get his new daughter to accept him. But the young Satoko didn't make any effort at all towards that end. She was distant towards her stepfather and never opened her heart to him even a little. She just got on his nerves all the time, with seemingly forced lies and pranks. Her father's discipline and punishment must have been loving at first, of course, but that too faded quickly. I don't know because I wasn't in Hinamizawa at the time, but I learned this on the phone yesterday. She wasn't in Hinamizawa then.
What story did you hear, Sensei?
That Satoko-chan wanted to trick her parents, especially her stepfather, so she made up a false story and phoned the Child Consultation Center herself. She made up a story about hurting herself?
Satoko made a fake phone call to try and get rid of the father she hated.
Child welfare officers rushed there and heard the story. The father genuinely apologized for a few times when he had gone too far and agreed to let the Child Welfare Center give him coaching. Related agencies looked into it quite a bit. They determined that Satoko and her stepfather's hearts not being quite matched up was the cause of the incident. But they found another problem above that with Satoko-chan. A problem with Satoko? What was it? Satoko's mother. There were a few times where she had lived with de facto husbands, though those relationships didn't result in remarriage. From a young age, Satoko had been forced to call at least 2 or 3 people her father. At some point, Satoko's pranks escalated. She would spill food on purpose, turn over her plate, and even throw it. She would break the windows in the neighborhood and shoplift candy. She would put thumbtacks everywhere and set other traps to seriously hurt people. Not in the way she did now, just to get laughs. She was also fond of telling lies that would be found out right away, and people got mad at her every time, but she never ever changed her behavior. Please don't think Satoko-chan was a problem child. Satoko-chan was young. Those were all acts of self-defense that she took so these unknown men wouldn't take her mother from her. In regards to Satoko's problematic behavior, child psychology experts from public institutions indicated her actions were to draw her mother's attention to herself. They acknowledged that she had a form of harmful emotional trauma and declared that she needed counseling from therapy and professionals. They didn't know whether that therapy had healed the wounds in her heart. Satoko-chan purposely hurt herself and told them that she was being abused by her stepfather in an attempt to chase him out. But in the end, her stepfather did abuse her, right? No. All of the abuse had been made up by Satoko-chan. Her stepfather, of course, may have scolded her in a somewhat emotional way, but it was nothing out of the ordinary. Satoko had lied to chase away her stepfather, and they saw through her right away and found out that Satoko had issues. Oh, could it be that's why the winter before last they decided to wait and see?
Yes, the Child Consultation Center had all their past records, so they needed to act carefully in case Satoko was lying.
What the hell? So what? Satoko might be telling a lie, so they needed to be careful. So how does that mean they'd just end up waiting and seeing?
It was the girl who cried wolf.
That fable about telling a lie once, making others unwilling to believe you later. That's bullshit. The past has nothing to do with this, does it? Only what's really happening right now is important. Satoko is being abused by her uncle. Why is something that happened in the past getting in the way of helping her now? Neither Sensei nor Rika-chan had anything to say to that.
Anyway, yesterday a probation officer visited to carefully determine what was going on.
And Satoko dealt with them, put on the best, strongest smile she could manage, and denied the abuse. Of course, she was probably being threatened to keep quiet about it by her uncle. Satoko was trying to outlast everything without asking for help. Satoko wanted to wait for Satoshi to come back home, and she outright denied the truth of the abuse. What an idiot. What? You're not really enduring it? You really think pretending like this will actually bring Satoshi back? Just stop it already. Satoshi, he abandoned you. And the fact that he hasn't shown up to save you now is proof, isn't it? So just stop it. Please stop being weird and pretending to endure it. Forget everything we just said. Understand? If you tell anyone else, your teacher will be very mad with you. Chie-sensei gave me a warning, then left to go back to the teacher's lounge.
Keiichi, please don't think Satoko is a pathetic, pitiful girl. She's living life.
I know that. She's our irreplaceable friend.
Satoko is still trying her best. Let's watch over her a little longer. She's serious. No more Mr. Nice Rika-chan. The person from the consultation center said they'd visit periodically from now on. If something terrible happens, they'll help her right away.
Yeah, but only after it happens. Any more than that would have sounded like I was picking a fight, so I firmly swallowed my next words and went back to the classroom. Damn. So, Satoko would do things to, I guess, get attention from her mother, who was with other men. And she pretended that she was being abused, supposedly. And so then when it actually happened, damn. I mean, do we also know for sure that she was lying? I mean, I guess. I mean, for now I should trust that, I think. Poor kid. Mion and Rena were talking to Satoko like they always did. It was a silly conversation. A humorous, even fun one, like it was any old day. If Satoko really said she could still endure it, then maybe I should do as Rika-chan said and watch over her. Maybe whatever help I offer will just go unwanted. Okay, this is a good time to have a quick break. Where is my tea time? There is my tea time. Okay, I will take a 5-minute break. We will do a little ad break, and then I shall return. Yahoo! See you shortly. I'm back. I'm a wazagoo. Yahoo! Oh, my hands are so cold. Put my gloves on. Alrighty, yay! Everything's fine and great. Yahoo! Nothing's wrong. Oh, look how happy. Okay, why didn't we all have lunch? Meep. It's been a while since it's been all 5 of us. This really is how it has to be. Here, here. Come on, you too, Kate-chan. Bring your desk over. Satoko brought over her own desk as well, grinning broadly. Even knowing nothing had been resolved, this exchange was pleasant and made me remember how fun it used to be.
I can't have Rika making a bento for me forever. I don't mind. I have fun making your bento.
Rika-chan's such a good girl. Having such a good friend must be so reassuring.
I put the big steak in mine and the burnt one in Satoko's. So if it was just Satoko, it would be so sad, so very sad. Bah.
I take it back. Well, she's Rika-chan after all.
Hey, come on, look! I got omelette rice today. Mushrooms and stuff, delicious, delicious. Ow. I say it every time, but your craftsmanship is splendid. You could become a wife whenever and not have a problem. A wife. Eating a wife. How?
Oh, Rena. Oh, Rena, I love you so dearly. The things you say, Rena. Using the word wife is totally forbidden around Rena. Please don't say it again.
I'll think about what I've done. A little.
By the way, what's in your lunch, Mion? It looks different again today. We're all waiting in anticipation. It's a rich assortment of side dishes left over from what my uncle brought last night. The stew looks really good, huh? Really great, huh? The color of the radishes too. Really good, right?
Wow, it looks delicious.
Stew tastes best when it's left overnight. This looks like it would be really good. And so there'll be none left for Satoko. I'll eat it all and tell you what I think, so just be quiet and watch.
What was that? Hand over my portion too.
Elbow, punch, headbutt. I'll use my knees too. Oh yeah.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. At close range like this, my advantage is unwavering. Keiichi-san, the daikon in your portion tastes really good.
Damn it. Coming right for me at the start and using a combo attack. How humiliating. There's a little exchange. How long had it been? It looked like they'd ended up realizing with the... They'd ended up going with the wait-and-see approach, but maybe her uncle had realized he'd gone a little too far and would dial it back now. If her treatment improved a little, would that be a good thing? Satoko was grinning wider than I'd ever seen as she chomped down on her mouthful of the daikon she'd plundered from me. Did it really taste that good? Satoko was somewhat cute like that. I would not call this cute, I would call this the face of someone who is dying. And just so done many times, I grabbed her head and started petting it. Catch. Smack, flip, flop, clatter, clatter. Huh?
Satoko-chan?
It was so sudden that for a moment I didn't know what had happened. The back of my hand was stinging. I went to pet Satoko's head and then she hit my hand. What's wrong, Satoko? Satoko was scratching at her head as though a pimple or something had appeared on it and become itchy. It was so sudden and so unprovoked that I didn't understand what happened. What's wrong, Satoko? At some point, her body had been covered in a thin layer of sweat and her breathing had turned ragged. When I pet her head, did she not like it? Was that what it meant? Hey, did you dislike being petted? Once again, slowly, I held out the palm of my hand and brought it close to Satoko's head. The instant the palm of my hand touched her head, there was a shock like static electricity, and Satoko began to howl. Ah! Thud, slam. She grabbed my arm in both hands, as if flinging off a snake trying to cling to her, as if trying to throw away something dirty. She threw it violently. It happened too suddenly for me to react. I hit the desk behind me, and both it and I fell to the floor. The classroom fell deathly silent. As Satoko bellowed, it sounded like she was in the throes of death, and she unsteadily backed away. Then she threw up the food she'd just eaten. She vomited it all back up. Splish splat. The sound of Satoko's vomit hitting the floor rang through the classroom. Are you okay, Satoko? You seem sick. I reached out a hand and she swatted it away with all her might, with such extreme strength that I fell onto the floor again. Satoko put both hands on her head as though protecting it, groaned some more and took a few steps back. And then she began swinging both hands around. Students in nearby seats were forced to evacuate. She grabbed anything within reach, bento boxes, chairs, threw them, tossed them, and flung them about. Wait, stop it, Satoko. What's wrong with you? She screamed out as if Mion's words had caused her physical pain. No one spoke a word to her. All the students were withdrawing behind us, leaving Satoko alone in the corner of the classroom. Around her there were desks and chairs all over the floor. Bento lay scattered. It was terrible. All I could hear was Satoko's ragged breaths and the voices of the cicadas. I'm sorry. The strings of tension loosened around Satoko. Holy fuck. And maybe she suddenly grew scared of her own actions because she started trembling and gave a word of apology, but nobody knew just who that apology was directed towards. So for now, I decided to answer as everyone's representative. No, it's fine. Are you alright? I'm sorry. Our words didn't match each other at all. Satoko hugged her shoulders, and back she went. Bang. She ran into the locker with the cleaning supplies in it. Even that made her give a little yelp. The impact caused the bucket atop the locker to fall, making a loud sound, and that scared Satoko most of all. She almost jumped out of her skin, grabbing a bunch of the curtain in her hands. Nobody spoke to her. They could only look, not even remembering to blink. Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't me. Satoko, what on earth? I stood up, took a step away from everyone, and approached Satoko. What happened? I said, I don't know, you're wrong, please stop, please forgive me. Just calm down. Satoko, do you know who I am? No more, I hate this. Every time I took a step forward, she grasped the curtains more tightly and cried out. Satoko, it's me, it's Keiichi. Don't you recognize me? I would never, ever hurt you. No, why? Come on, calm down. It's alright, I'm your friend. Help me. I don't want to be scared. It feels bad. No, I don't. Why? Suddenly my shoulders were grabbed and I was dragged backward. It was Rena.
Sorry, Keiichi-kun. You get a little farther back.
After pulling me back, she ran towards Satoko in my place.
It's okay, Satoko-chan. There's nothing to be scared of. Please don't worry.
No more of that. Nini, help me. Nini, help me. As she gripped the curtains and kept calling for Nini, she continued to wail about being forgiven for something, and to be saved from something. What is this? Mion gnashed her teeth and groaned, and there were tears falling from her firmly closed eyes. The hell? What is this? Didn't this all come to an end yesterday?
Had a fantastic day at work today. That's so good. It's good to see you, Lost Boyki. You come in at an intense time. That's so good to hear.
Oh man. Weren't we supposed to go back to our old lives? Mion. Crash. There was a crazy sound. Ren had taken the cleaning supply locker and kicked it down to the ground. Everyone stood surprised at Rena's unexpected act of brutality. After that, Rena embraced the bawling Satoko from behind and started crying with her, stifled. Rena, what's wrong?
Sorry. Keiichi-kun, be quiet for a minute.
What is it now? What happened? What did Satoko tell you? What did you hear?
Shut the hell up. I told you to shut your mouth, asshole.
Rena's raw, hostile emotion hit me like a brick. It was no more than a momentary howl of emotion for Rena, but it was more than that for me. She'd show me what was behind all that emotion. What was in her heart.
Satoko, John.
No more, no more.
Forgive us. We couldn't do anything for you. Forgive us.
Nini.
I'm sorry.
Forgive us for being unable to do anything. Rena's words made me feel as though the blood vessels in the back of my head were suddenly all turning to ash. My vision grew distant, blurred with grey, and the world lost its colour. The Sleep Token is dropping a new album in just a week. My boss will be playing Sleep Token songs over the speakers in the gym until the album drops. Oh, that's so awesome! Oh my god! That's so cool! Sounds like a lot of fun. I thought we could save Satoko. But though I knew it'd be the sooner the better, I thought there was no time limit for doing that. I never even dreamed that we could be too late. I'd been making a huge mistake. I thought Satoko could be hurt, but never that she'd break. It was such a huge mistake. People, they break. Thinking that they don't is absolutely absurd. We needed to save Satoko. We needed to save her before she broke. That fatal lapse in awareness had brought this on. Whose fault was it? That went without saying. Mine, no, ours. We all took on the duty of saving Satoko, but we were negligent to the point of laziness. In that sense, this was the inevitable result. Even if this didn't happen today, and it happened tomorrow, or the day after, or next week, we would have just sat around doing nothing until that day. So this was the obvious result. I slumped down to my knees, just as Mion and Rika-chan had done, and I too closed my eyes tight and couldn't stop myself from sobbing. What is all this noise about? Wait, what's happened? The teacher came, and her face screwed up at the terrible spectacle before her. The instant she realized the teacher was here, Satoko went through another complete change. She wiped her face with the curtains and, like nothing happened, smiled. Ojo-san, what on earth is going on here?
I just got into a little squabble with Rena-san is all. Went a little crazy over our lunches, right?
Rena didn't nod in reply, but then, since Satoko wished it, she nodded without strength. The rest of the class couldn't keep up with her extreme changes. We all just stared in a daze.
Oh, it was just a little horseplay. I scared everyone out of their wits. Oh,
Satoko would probably sweep the whole thing under the rug. For what? Her heart is torn to pieces, so what else? You wanted your Nini to help, didn't you? But unfortunately for you, Satoshi doesn't ever intend on coming back. It's never that easy. He won't just conveniently show up and save you. So you don't have to wait for him anymore. You can cry, beg for help, and you can run away. Whoa. We can't do anything. The way that she instantly changes the moment an adult is there. Mion suddenly said. She spoke then, those few words that had tormented me countless times. Those words were a spell, and when I heard them, my whole body suddenly regained its calm. My emotions all slipped away like they'd never been there, like a wave departing. And then, the world's color flipped inside out. What the fuck? My field of view expanded. What is this music? My head grew remarkably cold, and I felt like my mind's volume had grown even wider than the classroom we were in. Big brain Keiichi time, what the fuck? At the time, my soul was doubtlessly no longer in the small, petty vessel of my head, but floating in the air a little bit above it. It was a mysterious feeling of release. I broke free of the cramped confines of my skull and stretched out my roots in all directions as far as I wanted to. It was a strange feeling, and one I'd never felt ever before, an odd sense of exhilaration. My sharpened senses caused me to transcend. My mind was sharper than a knife's edge, and I immediately decided that spending the time to let myself be crushed with grief would be an absolute waste. Keiichi, I think this is probably not a good thing that's happening right now. I think this is probably very bad, in fact. I erased all the garbage information from my brain. I expelled the pointless emotions presenting obstacles to action. Mion, you curse it all you want. Curse our powerlessness as much as you want. Huh? If I could have taken back what had happened by crying about it, I'd have cried all day. But the fact was, this was how things had turned out. I couldn't take back what had happened. The top priority then would be to prevent the situation from worsening further and to sever the chains of misfortune. Until today, I'd be looking at things so narrow-mindedly I could scarcely believe it. To save Satoko, the only thing to do was to save Satoko. That's the only thing I thought about. I didn't allow myself to realize the most basic, direct, and certain way of removing the source of Satoko's unhappiness. Mion, we're gonna have to kill Satoko's uncle! No, actually, I realized it yesterday. But as for the means, I'd relied on some stupid curse from some dumb deity. I never considered carrying the task out myself. Chad, we're gonna kill this guy. I would obliterate Satoko's uncle. There were plenty of ways to do it. This was a task that held infinite methods. Ironically, the method of saving Satoko required mostly money. But the method of killing that man pretty much took no money at all. I could kill him with the least amount of investment. The least amount of money suited him. It was only the weight of his life. I kept eliminating needless, worthless information from my head, replenishing it with only the knowledge I'd need to achieve my goal. I used every cell in my brain to think about how I'd kill him. The way I killed him didn't matter. I would allow any method, from whatever time and whatever country, as long as it ended in a quick and certain death. If I were to have an additional condition, it would be to not get caught. Removing him was an act designed to return to the peaceful times we had with Satoko. If I was arrested in exchange for the removal, then we might as well have killed each other. With only him gone, we'd go back to our normal lives. That was my supreme objective, my ultimate goal. Kill him, definitely. But definitely don't leave evidence either. Two alternatives at odds with one another. The condition of not leaving a trace back to me automatically narrowed the number of murder methods. No witnesses was an absolute must. Fortunately, given the right time in Hinamizawa, there would be nobody around. I mentally reconstructed the land around Satoko's house. He's in his mind palace. He's in his mind palace. The number of pedestrians different at different times. The movement algorithm of the neighbors. Would I lure him out or charge at him? What would my weapon be? When and where would I carry this out? Where? It needed to be somewhere I wouldn't leave a trace. When? It needed to be as soon as possible for Satoko's safety without wasting even a millisecond. This is absurd, completely absurd. When I thought about it this way, it struck me how easy the act of killing was. If I could leave evidence, if I was just going to kill him, anyone could easily turn into a murderer. But our reason prevented that. It told us doing so would get us arrested for sure. In the end, being arrested by the police was the final thing preventing people from committing homicide. Absurd. If he went all the way out into the very middle of the ocean, he wouldn't leave any trace at all. Anyone would drop those they hated into the depths if they knew that. It was all too easy to simply remove him. I could leave class right now, grab a metal baseball bat or something from the schoolyard, go to his house and attack him. Estimated time would be 25 minutes. If I wanted us to kill each other, it wouldn't even be minutes. I could do it in 1,500 seconds. I knew just how much his continued existence depended on me. He was nothing. I could expel him from this world within just 1,500 seconds after making up my mind. From when I decided what to do, he only had 1,500 seconds. Actually, if I ran full speed to his house, that number would go down even further. But he was alive. He was still part of this world at this very moment, having torn Satoko's body and mind to shreds. Why? Because I was letting him live. I was permitting him to live, so he was alive. If I rescinded that permission, he would be evacuating this mortal coil within 1,500 seconds. You think I'd let you live to breathe even 1,500 more seconds of air? I'm taking that permission back, right here, right now. You'd better thank me for letting you live until today. However, I actually needed more than 1,500 seconds. I'm not just gonna end you. Getting back our old lives is far more important. It's only you I'll be cleanly cutting out of this world. They won't find a culprit. I'll forget that I dirtied my hands on the likes of you as naturally as I brush my teeth before bed. So to do that, I'll make a special exception for you and give you more than 1,500 seconds. I'll give you special permission to keep on living as you have until I can construct the perfect plan for your murder. Wait, Keiichi. You can't let that time go to waste. Yeah, I know. I'll kill him quickly. I'll remove him with certainty. I won't even waste much time to perfect that plan. Think back. Tomorrow is Watanagashi, isn't it? Last year on the night of Watanagashi, her aunt died. Her head was busted open by some deviant, and her brains splattered everywhere. That's it. He's someone who deserves to be given death on the night of Watanagashi. Hey, Oyashiro-sama. You call yourself a guardian, but you didn't protect Satoko. Cursing Satoko's family for the damn stuff is your own business, but now you've made Satoko unhappy when she didn't have anything to do with it. I, Keiichi Maebara, hereby denounce you, the guardian deity of Hinamizawa, a failure. We don't need you. Go back to the deepest, darkest part of your shrine this year. Besides, if you had just cursed and killed both her aunt and uncle last year, none of this would have ever happened. The curse this year, it's not on you. I'll be the one deciding. It won't be the three families controlling the serial deaths behind the scenes, no. Not some vague people who I can't tell if they're buffoons or not. This time, I'll be the one to deliver divine judgment. So don't get in my way, just watch. Stay quiet and watch. I'll obliterate him. I'll wipe him off the face of the earth. I will stomp out his very existence. Go away, disappear, and die. I'll tear your heart apart just like you did to Satoko. I'll have your blood as payment. Whoa. We gotta hope that this guy never gets his hands on the death note, huh?
Keiichi-kun, are you alright?
Rena, Mion, and Riko-chan were looking after me. Had I fallen to the floor?
You surprised us. You suddenly fell down. Were you having a nightmare? You were moaning.
Shut it. Quit squeaking at me like that. Whoa, uncalled for.
Eep.
My friends gave a start and backed away. What? Rena and the others, they exchanged glances, unsure of what to say, and stood confused for a few moments.
Was that your voice, Keiichi-kun?
Of course it was. Rena gulped firmly and opened her mouth.
For a second, Keiichi-kun, your eyes were really scary.
Just like what we've seen with the other characters when their eyes go scary? That's cool. That's cool. I like that. Huh. I like that a lot. My eyes? Probably just a trick of the light. Don't waste my time. I'm not mistaken. I've never seen those kind of eyes before. What are these guys talking about? They've all been too scared of me lately.
You're Keiichi Maebara-kun, right?
This is really cool. It's like what Keiichi's been through. What was Rena saying? Who else do I look like except Keiichi Maebara? The look I gave her seemed to speak quite eloquently to those irritated thoughts. She understood and quickly apologized. I wonder if, like, it's something, whether, like, symbolic or, like, literal. It's like when their eyes go like that, it's like Oyashiro-sama. Like, the curse, you know, it's taken hold of them. That's freaking cool.
I'm sorry. Don't worry about it.
Holy shit. Emergency D2 through number 44. I think that's the case file that was in the tips last time. Let's check them out. Emergency. June 18, 1983. Abuse issues regarding Satoko Hojo, urgent. We propose that Satoko Hojo must be taken into immediate custody based on the items below. 1. Family situation. Life with adoptive father who recently returned to Hinamizawa has already turned disastrous, and she is currently subject to unendurable physical and mental abuse from the father. 2. Child Consultation Center's response. A child probation officer was dispatched yesterday on the 17th from the prefecture welfare office, but because of the 77 case, changed to continued coaching and cautionary action. Unfortunately, the consultation office head does not properly understand the situation. 3. Status of concerned child. Child already appears to be suffering from an outbreak of something close to neurosis or manic depression. If her unstable pubescent mind is negatively stimulated by stress, it will put her development of a healthy body and mind at risk. This cannot be allowed to continue from a humane standpoint. 4. Allegations made to the family court. We propose, based on the above items, that Satoko Hojo should immediately be taken into protective custody. She should be secured temporarily under emergency allegations to the family court under Article 28. We request emergency coordination between all related agencies. Fucking good. Thank God. I hope something happens. Okay, so I think this is the old case from 77. Children with special needs, general, D23, number 44. Let me quickly check my notes. This could be something else, but I feel like it's familiar. Refer to 1977 document D23, number 44. Yep. 1977. Child name, Satoko Hojo, blank years old. Residence, Hiramizawa Village, Shishibone. 1. Consultation circumstances. Telephone SOS from child of child abuse. 2. Abuse situation. Child claims she is being physically abused by her adoptive father. 3. Family structure. Circle marks abuses. Adoptive father, real mother, older brother, child in question. Note, adoptive father and real mother entered family registry in 19... The child is the daughter of their mother's previous husband. 4. Child Consultation Center's response. On the day of the child's telephone consultation, the center called the child's school and asked of her situation. On that day, the child welfare officer on duty visited the child's house and conducted an interview. The adoptive father sincerely listened to instruction and agreed to take child raising workshops in the city from now on. As part of the suggested coaching, the center will continue to observe the situation. 5. Other notes. As a result of numerous counseling sessions at the city's education and consultation office regarding the child, we learned there was a high possibility the cause of the child's excessive distrust towards her adoptive father was the result of a lack of communication. The abuse she claimed hadn't actually taken place. She had made a false report to distance herself from her adoptive father. Below was a note written in pencil by the person on duty at the time. The problem appeared to be more with the daughter. Chief Investigator F of the city's education consultation office said that most of her stories of abuse were likely fabrications. They decided to shift the focus of their coaching to the child. Be cautious not to take everything the child says as truth. That's all it takes to call her into question. Alright. We're gonna take a 5-minute break. Yeah, and I'll be back. We will run ads for a moment. And we'll try and get through to like the halfway point in the chapter. Alright, see you soon. Sorry, that was a bit of a longer break. My throat's hurting a little, but breaks helped a little bit. So I'll see how I go. Because I want to keep going, but we'll see. I don't want to hurt myself, you know. Man, that chapter was real heavy. Ooh. Mion and the others, having set up for the Watanagashi festival or something, invited me along, but I refused. Of course I did. A little bit. Like that. How could they be taking it easy and setting up for a festival in this situation? Mion had a lot of nerve. I'm gonna kill this guy! The first thing I did when I got back was take a shower. Not because I wanted to wash off sweat, it was because I wanted to be even calmer. I already understood this, but killing that man would be so very easy. The really hard thing would be not getting arrested for it, so we could get our peaceful days back. As I thought about it, I realized it wasn't easy. Japan's police force have the highest arrest rate in the world. I would need to deceitfully pull off the perfect crime, and it couldn't be a half-hearted attempt. Still, it wasn't 100%. Even the best police force in the world couldn't have a 100% arrest rate. I've read a lot of articles on trials with people brought up on false charges. At court, they consider whether the charges are false or not, but figuring out the real criminal is entirely out of scope. And that meant perfect crimes did exist. In fact, perfect crimes were sort of like works of art. They could even be respected and revered. You just had to look at the inundation of mystery novels everywhere throughout history. They dealt with all sorts of difficult-to-solve incidents involving secret rooms and alibis and stuff, but they all wanted to show one thing. They wanted to show the beauty of a perfect crime. There was something divine in the flawlessness of the word perfect. Yes, perfect crimes were skills of the gods. And in that sense, the serial freak deaths they were calling the curse of Ogashiro-sama, I understood. They must have been the works of gods. Each one appeared to have been resolved, but they couldn't stop it from happening every year. Yeah, skills belonging only to gods, those are perfect crimes. And I would be setting up my own crime before Ogashiro-sama's series of perfect crimes 4 years in the running. If I were to put it boldly, I was challenging a god. Foolhardiness would be needed to make the decision, but I needed to be calm, cool, colder than ice to put that plan together. Kill him like a flame, but as systematic as ice. Starting now, I needed to retain both of those ideas within me. Modeling my crime after a mystery novel wasn't actually a bad thing to focus on. Sometimes kidnappings involving disturbing original methods that made it into the newspaper were used as a basis for novels after the person was arrested. Stuff like that made it into the news. Day and night, for a very long time, mystery novel authors polished and refined their most fantastic artistic crimes. Imitating that could be a shortcut to planning the perfect crime in a short period of time. Of course, I haven't read enough mystery novels to act all high and mighty about them. One who really liked mystery novels was my mum. She'd read every well-known mystery novel from overseas, from past and present. Every time she watched mystery shows, she would always criticize them as having cheap tricks or being poorly thought out. I wonder what the perfect crime would mean to her. What do I think the most well-done perfect crime in all mystery novels I've read is? Yeah. Well, you read quite a lot of them, right? I figured you might know a lot about them. It's more fun to read them to find out. If I told you all the tricks right off the bat, they'd be no fun anymore. It wasn't like I was asking my mum, I was asking for my own amusement. She was deflecting the question, so I would somehow butter her up first and draw out an answer. Of course, well-done mystery novels, yeah. They all have a unique charm to them, so it's hard to say which is the most interesting. You'd really have to force me to pick one. I didn't want to know which novels you liked. I wanted to know about the trick that made you the most surprised. If it was really a perfect trick, the detectives wouldn't be able to solve the case, though. That was true. Then there'd be no point. Mystery novels are enjoyable because of the process of the mysteries getting solved. If it was unsolvable, it wouldn't make a very good topic for a novel. I get it. Yeah, you're right. If the main character can't solve it, it wouldn't be much of a story, huh? Was I being too simplistic? A mystery novel was basically a game. They were written so that you can get to the goal, so that you could solve them. But I couldn't use something so optimistic. It needed to be the be-all end-all of tricks so that we could, without a doubt, return to our old lives. By the way, Keiichi, Do you understand that truly perfect crimes don't even become stories? Mum looked at me intellectually and grinned impishly. I'd never gotten to read it, but apparently one time, a long time ago, Mum had written her own mystery novel and submitted it for some mystery novel award. Apparently she was really into it. Does it don't even become stories? What does that mean? Keiichi, what are the essential parts of a story? I was wondering where this would come up. Oyashiro-sama greets me. Thank you very much. I greet Oyashiro-sama in turn. Great to have you here. Petrox, U3. Yay. A beginning, a middle, and an end? Correct. The beginning, of course, is especially important. If there is no beginning, then the story never starts. Well, yeah. If nothing happened, nothing would begin. Right. Nothing happened, so there wouldn't even be an incident. Detectives wouldn't be called, so there wouldn't be any mystery. There would be no mystery, so there would be no solution. In other words, it would be the ultimate perfect crime. Wait a second. Could you explain that again? So she's saying, if nothing happened, then it would be the perfect crime? My mum just told me something absurd. And she was saying it so smoothly too, so I kinda tuned her out, but she said something extremely important just now. It's not really that difficult to understand. The incident just has to never come to light, that's all. It just has to never come to light. For example, how about this? Say there's an old man living deep in a forest nobody goes into. Uh-huh. And one day the old man gets killed by an axe. And, let's say the criminal was the old man's son. He went to the old man's house and they were drinking together, but they got into a fight and he killed them. What an extremely cheap plot. It was an impulsive crime without a bit of planning. It was pretty far from a perfect crime. But Keiichi, the house was really, really deep in this forest. So deep in the mountains that nobody would ever go out that far. Then his son would go back to town and say that the old man was doing fine. What about that as a perfect crime? Keiichi. This incident would only begin when it was found out that the old man was killed. If nobody ever visited the old man's house after that, that beginning would never occur. I love this stuff. The beginning would never occur. So basically, the story wouldn't start, the incident wouldn't come to light, and they wouldn't call in detectives. And nobody would be suspicious in the first place, so there'd be no mystery. They'd think the old man was still living by himself deep in the forest, and the old man's face would appear in the sky, and that would be it. Something like that, you know? That's amazing. That's a pretty great trick. But it wouldn't be a novel. Mystery novels are for entertainment, after all. They can't be instruction manuals for perfect crimes. Oh, Keiichi, you're not gonna like this, but, you're in a visual novel. It's not gonna be a perfect crime, probably. Maybe, although, you know what? It could be. I kinda doubt it. But it could be. I was trying hard to talk cheerfully to fool her, but inside I was excited. Special tools, strange geography, mysterious drugs, traps involving huge sums of cash. None of them were needed for perfect crimes. The important thing was that there wasn't a beginning. As long as the incident didn't come to light, it would be fine. Speaking broadly, if I could kill him without anyone finding out, and dispose of the corpse somewhere no one could find, it would basically already be a perfect crime. Of course, if somebody up and vanished one day all of a sudden, people would get suspicious. But that didn't apply to this man. Last year, after their aunt died, he ran away from the village in fear of Oyashiro-sama. Okay, so... And this is, like, when Satoshi disappeared. And everyone's like, yeah, he ran away. I'm just saying. When the night of Watanagashi came around again, everyone would have to think that he ran away in fear again. I mean, he'd been living with the lover of his in town. No matter what it felt like when he vanished, no one would be suspicious. People hated him after all. No one would care where he went if he disappeared. When I thought about it like that, it got easier and easier to imagine killing him. You know, also in all this, there was the freaking his lover or whatever who was found dead at the start. What's the deal with that? There was no point in thinking inside my house anymore. I left getting my bike out of the garage. For now, it didn't matter where I was going. I just rode through the wind, trying to calm my excitement by feeling the cool air on my body. Where I'd kill him, how I'd do it, what time, and how to dispose of the corpse. If I just had those 4 things, I could get a good plan going. I was so surprised at how little there was to decide that I shivered. I'd been completely prepared to build this humongous plan over a really long period of time, but if I could just get these little things in order, I could put it into motion. Today was Saturday. Hey, it is Saturday! I would have to kill him on the night of Watanagashi, so long as I was standing in for Ueshiro-sama. I only had 24 hours remaining. Satoko. Just hang on. For 24 more hours. I wonder if Satoko is gonna be at the Watanagashi. Or if she's gonna be home with him. And Keiichi's gotta, like, get into the house, I assume. Even assuming that he is at home, maybe he'll just flee the village, like, for the night. That could happen. That would suck. I can't even imagine having to suffer through even more, but please, hold out for a little longer. I know you can't even last another second, I know that. But please just hold out. Your Nini will save you for sure. Outside, it was still early enough for the cicadas to be crying. Higurashi when they cry! Early afternoon. Evening was still a long way off. I looked at the sky. At some point it had gotten cloudy. Come to think of it, as I left the house, I heard on the TV that the weather forecast was calling for a chance of rain on Sunday. That was mentioned, I think, when we were talking to Tobitake and Takano. Or something. Or maybe me. We were talking to someone, and it was mentioned that it's like a rainy season. That could help him cover up his crime. The sky was the color of lead. If I heard a little bit of thunder, I'd definitely have expected a sudden evening shower. My first destination was school. Metal bat! Metal bat! Before explaining why I was going there, I needed to explain what method for killing that man I had decided upon. Okay, please explain. I decided that the most suitable death, the one I needed to give him, was the same as last year's curse, the same as the punishment their aunt had received, being beaten to death. Wouldn't beating him to death be somewhat unreliable? You may think that stabbing him with a blade would be more reliable, but this was something I had chosen after a lot of thought. You just needed to think realistically. The law, it prohibited carrying any blades longer than 10 centimeters, I think. So the blades available to me, even the longest ones, were still limited to things shorter than a ruler. Maybe he can be like, oh yeah, I'm going to Satoko's place to see if she wants to practice baseball. 'Cause she plays baseball. If, like, he's questioned. But also, if that happened, that would be suspicious. Like, this guy turns up dead or missing. I'll hear Keiichi out. I'll hear him out. You can probably understand how tricky it would be with such a short reach to go up against an opponent that might fight back. In that case, a weapon with more reach, like a staff, would be far more advantageous. It might not be quite as inherently lethal, but since you could just keep hitting the guy until you killed him, the end result was the same. Also assuming that he doesn't have, like, weapons of his own? So what's a staff like deadly weapon, terrifyingly powerful, and also eminently portable? At this point you should immediately think of a metal baseball bat. Or a golf club. I don't need to explain how terrifying a metal baseball bat can be as a weapon. Of special note is the fact that you can carry one around in broad daylight and not be thought of as suspicious. I mean, it can be thought of as a little suspicious, but you know, yeah. Just those 2 points would have been enough to choose a metal bat for my weapon. But there was one more reason for choosing a metal bat in particular. I will speak about it later. Alright, yep. No, that's fine, Keiichi. I won't question you. Yep. He'll get to it. After school that Saturday, my classmates were still having fun, playing in the schoolyard. I could show up there and it would be the same as always, so nobody will think I'm suspicious. Getting my hands on the weapon without looking suspicious was actually a factor I couldn't ignore. I didn't normally play baseball, so if I went to a sports store looking for a metal bat, it would definitely be suspicious. I can't let there be a beginning to the story, so I needed to be really careful even about that. That left school. At a location at which my appearance wouldn't be suspicious, I would acquire the weapon. I checked inside the classroom through the window, but of course there was nobody there. The only students who would stay in there were me and the others when doing club activities. Well, we're gonna be doing some club activities of our own, if you know what I mean. Clubbing this guy. Without us, the classroom after school was just an empty, unused room. Without glancing around nervously, as if I'd just gone to get something I'd forgotten, I casually went in the entrance. It looked like the teacher was busy with paperwork in the teacher's lounge. I didn't see her in the hallway. Naturally, yet quickly as a shadow, I entered the classroom. The empty room was full of strange, stagnant air that you couldn't feel normally. An empty classroom, with nobody here. Maybe while no one was around, the desks creep about of their own accord, licking the floors clean of dirt. Dude, just fucking get the baseball bat. What are you— If I suddenly stepped into a place like that, would the desks in their surprise fly at me, crush my bones, and eat me alive? Keiichi, you are losing it. It's ridiculous. I felt regret at wasting valuable thinking time on stupid delusions. The students' lockers were lined up in the back of the classroom. The one I was looking for wasn't my own. It was a forbidden locker. One I had accidentally discovered one day. Here it is. Hojo. This has to be it. If one person has one locker, then why would only Satoko have two? I'd made a fuss about it once. After that, I learned it was Satoshi's locker, and he had the same last name as her. But of course, even though it was the locker for a student no longer here, looking inside it was still a shameless act. But one time, I let my curiosity get the better of me and took a peek inside. Inside, it was average and worthless. At the time, I hadn't been interested, so until now I'd forgotten what had been in it. But now that I had, dare I say it, awakened, I remembered the thing that had been there. Keiichi's inner monologue is quite funny at this point in the story. Scrape. I opened the locker. A stench of mold and sweat wafted out like a gym storehouse that hadn't been cleaned in weeks. Eek. My face puckered up at the stench, but I looked for it. Yes. Satoshi was on Coach's baseball team. What if, crazy thought, what if the missing, I think, arm of the dismembered damn guy, one of it's in the locker? That could be the stench, although I think that would be quite a bit more pungent. Satoshi was on Coach's baseball team. Inside the locker was a Hinamizawa fighter's uniform, and it. The one Satoshi used. The metal bat. Yes. This was the reason I wanted to choose this bat. This murder would be carried out by me, but this wasn't originally my role, it was Satoshi's. But I would stand in for him and call myself Satoko's Nini. It was one of the rules for standing in for him. I reached for the metal bat and grasped it firmly. It was light, and yet its tip had enough heft in it, enough to easily imagine the horror if I brought it down with all my might. Satoshi, I'll give you one last chance to save your sister. Lend me your strength. You're a coward, but I will stand in for you. So if you still care even a little bit about her, you will lend me your strength. There's no more suitable weapon in the world for putting that man to death than your bat. Now, I just needed to figure out where to hide it. Tomorrow before the act, I would just stop by the school and grab it. Because I couldn't ignore the possibility someone would see me bringing it home and think I was strange. But if I left it here, there wouldn't be a problem. Plus, tomorrow was Sunday. Not only that, it was the day of the biggest festival in the whole village, so tomorrow he's going to drop by the school and get it. I feel like that could be suspicious in itself. I mean, I guess anything you do when you're going to kill someone is kind of suspicious. Nobody would be coming to school. Hopefully, yeah. I left out the entrance and went over to a construction vehicle parked nearby. We'd been warned by our teacher not to touch it just for laughs, so none of the kids would come near the vehicle either. They wouldn't, because if she found out they touched it, they'd be in huge trouble. I quietly hid it in the shadow of the vehicle. The chances of someone operating the vehicle tomorrow were slim to none, because tomorrow was Sunday. Government workers had the day off, and from what my classmates had said, the thing had been left here for years now. Machines that haven't been moved in years. You can't just suddenly start them up again. So I was almost definitively fine in this case. The sunlight was piercingly hot. My head grew faint for a moment. Had the heat been this harsh for the entire day? This thing with the heat, like it being really hot, whenever it pops up, I'm like, is this because like Keiichi's been injected with some like drug and he's like sick and like everything's really hot and sweaty? A moment of dull thoughts like this was a moment of carelessness. I gave myself a couple hits in the head, then looked around warily. Okay. Next, how to dispose of the corpse. Oh? Okay, well, I said I was gonna stop at, like, the halfway point, and this is what I was thinking of, so. Alright, we'll leave it here for today. I think I'll be streaming tomorrow. I should be. I'll let you all know on my Discord. But yeah. But thank you for following, Debachian. 23. Thank you. I don't think my notifications are working. I just happened to catch that. Yeah, man, it's getting good. I'm so much to think about. And Keiichi, like, not going to the Watanagashi, I wonder if that's gonna change things. Because I speculated that maybe him going to the Watanagashi was, like, one of the things that happens each time that maybe, like, triggers certain things to happen. Yeah. Interesting. And I wonder if he's actually gonna be able to kill this guy. And, like, surely he's gonna run into issues, but, like, yeah. This is interesting. I can't wait to see where it goes. Alright. Thank you very much for coming, everywhere. I hope you all have a very good day or night. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.